Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Blue Sky Uranium Investor Webinar. Blue Sky Uranium is a leader in uranium discovery in Argentina and member of the Grasso Group. Blue Sky trades under the symbol BSK on the TSX Venture Exchange, BKUCF on the OTCQB, and MAL2 on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. Joining us today is Nikolaos Cacos, President and CEO, and Guillermo Pensado, VP of Exploration and Development. We'll go through Blue Sky's June presentation, including an overview of current operation and upcoming milestones. Today's presentation is also available for download on the Blue Sky website at Blue Sky Uranium under Investors and Presentations. At the end of the presentation, we will open it up for questions from management to address. If you are interested in asking a question and are logged into the GoToWebinar app or web platform, you can submit your questions to us directly in the questions module. Please note, this webinar is being recorded today, Wednesday, June 2nd, and will soon be made available on the company's website. Lastly, RBMG is not a registered investment advisor, broker dealer. For more information, please visit us at rbmilestone.com. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to Nikolaos Cacos, President and CEO of Blue Sky. Nico.
Thank you, Paul. Hello, everybody. Good day. Thank you for attending our webinar here and allowing us an opportunity to present Blue Sky Uranium and the very exciting project that we're working on. Blue Sky has a very unique and a very unique project in that the uranium project that we're working on is not just a single deposit. What we have is an entire district, as you'll see in this presentation, and this district has the potential to generate uranium deposits that can rank amongst the largest in the world with some of the lowest operating costs. So this is a very bold statement, and I'm confident that this presentation will bear out my initial thesis. The next slide here, okay, I bring your attention disclaimers and cautionary language. This is also available on our website, on our PowerPoint there. It basically, when you have an opportunity, do review it, as I will be making some forward-looking statements in this presentation. So why invest in Blue Sky? Well, there's a number of reasons. Number one, we're in a hot uranium market. The world global supply, you'll see, is not keeping up with the demand of uranium, so the price of uranium has been going up. Today is over $31. This is up from the $15, $16 just over a year ago. So we're seeing a very steady rise. And secondly, you'll see that within Argentina, where we operate, there's an in-country demand for uranium, and this creates a very unique opportunity for Blue Sky that we are hoping to be able to capitalize on. Well, the second thing, of course, is the project itself. Our project basically is underpinned by value in that we already have just under 23 million pounds of uranium and 11.5 million pounds of vanadium. It's definitely open for expansion. There are multiple targets throughout the property that have been identified. We're already drilling, as you'll see, to expand the current resources that we have on this project. And as I stated at the outset, this has a district scale potential. The property length goes up to about 145 kilometers long by 50 kilometers wide, a truly huge property. And it has, like I said at the outset, a potential to rank amongst the largest uranium districts in the world with some of the lowest operating costs, and we'll address all of these points through this presentation. The next slide here basically shows a map of Argentina as it's situated in the southern part of South America. You can see here highlighted in the northern part of Patagonia in the province of Rio Negro, that's the Amarillo Grande project. This is the project that we'll be talking about. We have additional projects, but our focus today is strictly going to be on Amarillo Grande. The company, I should note, is any company's success really is as good as its management team. And this company here is managed by the Grasso Group. The Grasso Group are an extremely well-known management team with an enormous success throughout, not just in Argentina, but throughout most of South America. The Grosso Group has pioneered mining exploration and mining in Argentina since almost 30 years ago, back in 1993, and has been extremely successful. There are not many groups that can claim so many successful discoveries as the Grosso Group. Right now we have 4 discoveries. 2 of these are in production. One of these, the Navidad silver deposit, remains the world's largest undeveloped silver project. And the 4th and relevant discovery is going to be the Amarillo Grande uranium vanadium discovery that we're talking about here. And the Grosso Group, as you'll see, gives Blue Sky a tremendous competitive advantage in being able to effectively operate in Argentina. Specifically, the team behind Blue Sky, the chairman and the director is Joe Grosso. He's the president and founder of Grosso Group. Joe Grosso has been recognized as definitely as a pioneer in exploration in Argentina. He's been awarded Mining Man of the Year, inducted into Argentina's Mining Hall of Fame, and is truly a well-known and big personality in the mining industry there. Myself, I worked alongside Joe Grosso for almost 30 years now, and continue to do so. David Terry is the other director on the board. David has been on our board of directors since inception of the company as a PhD geologist and a very highly successful and also well-known geologist in his own realm. He has provided Blue Sky with excellent guidance. Also on this call, you'll see there's Guillermo Pensado, who's our Vice President of Exploration. Guillermo is a uranium geologist with extensive experience. And again, he is also an award-winning individual. He was awarded just over a year ago Exploration Geologist of the Year in Argentina by his peers. Jorge Bariso, who helped us with his insight working at the Argentine Atomic Energy Commission, has been able to assist us, especially at the beginning, to help get located into the right areas. And most recently, we've had Chuck Edwards join our technical team. Chuck is probably one of the world's foremost mining and metallurgical engineers. He was chief metallurgist for Cameco for a number of years, and he's been heading all our process engineering and metallurgical work for Blue Sky. Now, stepping back a little bit, and for those who may not understand uranium as well, uranium has got some very, very big demand right now. The demand for uranium is going up, and supply obviously is not keeping. And this is what's creating a price increase. And why is the demand for uranium going up? Well, what we're seeing is that around the world, people are becoming more accepting of nuclear energy as a safe, secure, reliable, and carbon-free way for generating electricity. And as this perception continues, we're seeing the demand continuing to go up, and supply, of course, is not keeping up. And this is creating a wonderful backdrop to be operating and exploring for uranium discoveries. And global production, we can see that production of uranium basically is concentrated in just a handful of countries. Most of it comes out of Kazakhstan, and we'll see why that's really important. And other countries include Canada, Australia, and Namibia as being the other major countries. So uranium coming out of Argentina is not even on this picture here, because there is no uranium production in Argentina yet. And of course, there's the pricing for uranium. Uranium is not unlike gold, unlike say copper or other metals that trade on an exchange. There's a spot price, but most of the 80% of the world's global supply is negotiated directly between a utility, a nuclear reactor, basically, and directly with a mine. And they privately negotiate contracts that can range from 3 to 15 years long. And basically, there's a big premium to the spot price. And the reason they do that, they don't mind paying the premium, is because a nuclear reactor needs to have a continuity of supply of uranium to be able to, so that it doesn't need to shut down for any reason, which could be very costly. And the other interesting tidbit that I mentioned at the outset was Argentina. Argentina, most may not realize, is a nuclear country. All the legal framework is already there. Argentina, in fact, is involved in every facet of the nuclear industry. They've got power plants in operations. They have atomic centers, research reactors, particle accelerators, even a pilot uranium enrichment plant. What Argentina doesn't have, as I've been stating, is production of uranium itself, mining. So they import all the uranium and they pay a real premium to the current prices right now. Right now, I believe that they pay an average of about $85 a pound for all their uranium needs. So our first step and business objective is to advance our project and hopefully be in a position to be providing uranium for Argentina's domestic use initially, and then being in a position where we would be exporting subsequent to that. And this brings us to the Amarillo Grande project, and to give you a thorough description of that, I'm going to turn the mic over to Guillermo Pensado. Guillermo?
Hello, hi everyone. Thanks for coming to our presentation. Well, I'm going to talk you about the Amarillo Grande project. As you can see, this is the rig drilling at this flat area that represents the area where the project is located, and the nice blue sky, as we usually see. We go to the next, please? Okay, the Amarillo Grande project. About 300,000 hectares in a new area discovered by the company back in 2006. This represents a series of new uranium vanadium discovery where having been never mentioned before. That is the central part of the Rio Negro province, a depression zone where uranium was found by by the geologists showing before, Jorge Berizo, Mr. Berizo, who was driving along those roads with a scintillometer and found uranium on surface at this northern part of the new district. With this new discovery, a first airborne survey was conducted and discovered a tremendous radiometric anomalies in this area, name it ANIT. But was also understood that the uranium continued to the southeast and more airborne survey was carried on and more uranium anomalies were discovered. Finally, those exploration efforts conducted the field team to visit the southern part, Ivana deposit, where in 2011 uranium was discovered on surface. And finally, in 2017, after 10 years of prospecting, we started to work in an intensive exploration program that defined it really in a rapid program, the Ivana uranium vanadium deposit. We conducted the initial resource estimation presented in 2018. We updated that resource estimation, and a preliminary economic assessment study was presented in 2019. Next, please. As you can see, and as I pointed out at the beginning, that picture can show the area where the project is located. It's really flat area, arid zone, less than 200 millimeters rain per year, strong evaporation, very low population. However, it's an area with infrastructure like paved or dirty roads crossing the entire district. We have also cities like Valcheta, 30 kilometers to the south of Ivana deposit, which offer a a place where you can find human resources for our programs, also energy like gas or electrical energy. And this is entirely in a province with broad nuclear experience. The INVAP energy development company is located in this province, and they develop very high technology infrastructure. And it's a province also open for mining, and you can see another exploration programs moving on right now. Next, please. So the mineralization observed at at Amarillo Grande first. Let's talk about Amarillo Grande, which is the big area that contain different target zones, like we mentioned before, Santa Barbara, Anita, and Ivana. The first mineralization recognized was carnotite. This is a uranium vanadium mineral, typically from superficial uranium type deposits, because it showed in the first 2-3 meters in not consolidated or poorly consolidated sands and conglomerates, as seen at a near deposit. And this was the first idea of exploration, but finally the prospecting advanced into what finally discovered in 2017, that is the primary mineralization related to a sandstone type deposit. And this is uranium precipitated in sediment also, that because they are not so deep, they are still in poorly consolidated sediments, but in this case precipitated not by evaporation like superficial deposit, if not by a chemical process like is a change of oxidation reduction that generate deposit richer deposit than superficial deposits. So those kind of deposits the sandstone type deposit can be compared to Grants District or something that probably at least in this sector, everyone know that is the Kazakhstan deposits, which produce most of the uranium today in a similar geological environment, but in that case, deeper than the superficial zone that we are, and where we operate by in situ recovery. In this case, we are talking about uranium on surface or near surface. That doesn't mean that it's because near surface is superficial. We have a sandstone type deposit near surface as Ivana itself. So the mineralization is, as I'm saying, is near surface, generally in the upper 25 meters from surface. That means a low cost to explore because you can rapidly advance with drilling, and also easy to work because it's unconsolidated sediments where you can dig sampling pits like those or this in the picture that you can see the yellowish colors in the walls of that pit, or still in the prospecting phase with a manual drilling programs that help to rapidly advance into target areas. Next, please. As I was mentioning, although in surface it looks like a superficial deposit, the more significant part of the geological story of this district is that the geology is pretty similar to the geology observed in Kazakhstan, where you can see a fluvial system in Kazakhstan going, let's see, as we can see on the screen, from right to left, and where those groundwater rich in uranium touch a redox front, that means where the oxidation change precipitate uranium mineralization. This is what we have seen in Amarillo Grande project, where Ivana deposit clearly represent a trap zone where the uranium-rich groundwater trapped the uranium in a zone with organic material that induce it to the precipitation of the uranium. So the Ivana deposit represent like the first discovery in this tremendous district, which is 140 kilometers long northwest to the southeast, and in that zone, in Ivana zone, probably 30 to 40 kilometers in the other direction. And we have a lot of exploration work to do because that zone has the potentiality to contain more deposits as observed in Kazakhstan districts. As an example, Inca Mine was the first producer sandstone in that zone, in that basins, and they have proven and probably reserved for 200 million pounds U3O8 at a grade similar to Ivana deposit, 0.03% U3O8. So we are just starting. We are in the 22 million pounds initially discovery in just the first drilling program, almost. So we have a lot of potential to explore along the district. Next, please. So the initial program defined the Ivana deposit itself, which is a uranium vanadium mineralization hosted by unconsolidated or poorly consolidated sands and gravel from surface down to 25 meters. So that's almost on surface. The mineralization is in the upper part oxide carnotite, and deeper, which was the primary mineralization, it's an oxidized coffinite that we call like a beta coffinite internally, because coffinite is supposed to have the same chemistry, but some differences because it's under oxidation process, shown that it's not exactly the same coffinite as by definition. This is better for metallurgical process that we will talk later. So the characteristic is of both is the primary sandstone type deposit that, because it's on surface and being remobilized by oxidized water, generates superficial type deposits. The initial resource estimation upgraded back in 2019, as referred at that press release on the presentation, showed a total of 28 million tons mineralized with 0.03% U3O8 and 0.0, almost 2% V2O5 vanadium, that contain 22.7 million pounds U3O8 and 11.5 million pounds vanadium as V2O5. Next, please. As you can see at the map, the C form of the mineralization typically represent the type of the precipitation of the roll from deposit. And this was, the significant discovery at that zone, but because confirmed the geological model that we were looking. This is a 5 kilometers arcuate corridor with a high-grade core zone. That means the area where the water carrying the uranium precipitate that uranium where they find a trap, like in this case is a organic material. That corridor with a higher grade is 200 to 500 meters wide, and as mentioned before, up to 23 meters thick. This is still open for expansion because, as you can see at this map, to the southwest, we already did some pit samplings showing interesting values that can represent an extension of the mineralization to the left of the screen, and also to the bottom part of that zone. So this is something that still can add more pounds to this initial deposit discovery at the district. Next, please. The other good thing is that the first goal for sure in the exploration was to define a deposit, and we tilted. So we already got the 22 million pound. The second part of in exploration is that show that you can recuperate the mineralization or the element that you are looking for. In this case, uranium plus vanadium, because due to the grade that we have and the interest that vanadium can sum to the project, we were working in the initial metallurgical test works to see how we can recuperate those elements. And we found that due to the type of mineralization, where the carnotite that I showed, the yellowish material, or the beta coffinate, is in the very fine particles between the sand on conglomerate grains or coating the pebbles. So that means that by simple scrubbing and screening, you can pre-concentrate that material, that fine material, separating the coarse material with no uranium or vanadium. So that in a very simple form and very common way to separate mineralization in the world, very well known, you can increase your initial grade, separating the coarse material with no uranium and vanadium with the fine material by about 4 times. And that reduces your mass or your volume by almost 75%, 77%. In this process, you recover 89% of both elements, uranium and vanadium. So probably in this scrubbing, you lose some material, but we are expecting to do more studies to improve that. And you go to the second step of the metallurgical process, assess it until now. That is due to the type of mineralization, go with an alkaline leaching process in tanks. So that means that pre-concentrate you put in a tank with sodium carbonate and bicarbonate with no oxidations or flotation required. So very simple metallurgical leaching also that only need temperature and time, and you recover 95% of the uranium and 60% of the vanadium. So the overall process, that means summing the initial scrubbing screening plus second step alkaline leaching, your recovery is 85% uranium and 53% for vanadium. It's, as I say, very well-known process, low cost, and very well-known technology. Next, please. The other part, now that we know that we have resources, we can recuperate metal, is to assess how we can mine that mineralization. And the model done, due to the lack of consolidation of hard rock, show that you can easily mine the zone as a quarry, as a sand quarry, because you don't need drilling and blasting, which is cost and take time. So in this case, you just go with conventional surface mine, where the idea is to work in cells, going from higher grades at the beginning to lower grades later in the mine life. And you also do almost continue reclamation, because the cells that you mine out, you can later start the recovery of that zone with the rejected material and the nominalized material, and trying to recuperate the zone as approximate as we found now. Next, please. So probably Nico, would you like to give the results?
Absolutely. Thank you, Guillermo. So when we did our first preliminary economic assessment, we had two objectives in mind. One was to think was, we wanted to see what would it cost to put something like this schematically into production, and then what would it cost to continue to produce. And these are the results here of our PEA on this table. First of all, the project was shown, the Ivana deposit actually was shown to have an NPV at an 8% discount of $135 million and an internal rate of return of just under 30%. Now, the interesting point here was the capital cost, the CapEx, to put something like this into production. Now, we're talking just about the Ivana deposit, was pegged at $128 million, and that includes $28 million contingency. Now, the interesting point about that is as we make additional deposits within the area or find additional resources, these capital costs likely will not change that much. So this is a good figure for us to wrap our head around. And then the second thing was to look at, if this was in production producing, how much would it cost to produce each pound of U3O8? And our cash cost came at just over $16 a pound, and the all-in sustaining costs at just over $18 a pound. Now, what did this mean? Trying to put this into perspective, I'll flip over to the next slide here, and you can see what we did is we represent in this graph all the different miners of uranium and their costs of production, and the red line shown there shows the number that we had from the PEA at the Ivana deposit. And you can see that this red line lies in the lowest first quartile of costs. So yes, this deposit does have the potential to be ranked, to be amongst the lowest cost producing uranium mines in the world. And if it was in production today, we'd probably be making money today too. So this is a very key finding. Now, the next step that we're looking to do is to show the growth of the Amarillo Grande project. How quickly can we expand this, and how readily and easily? And here again, I'm showing the Amarillo Grande district property package. And if you look at the bottom southeast zone, there's depicted as the Ivana deposit, which shown as the number 1. And then going forth, we've identified a number of drill targets that show similarities with the Ivana deposit that we think are worthy or have potential to make new discoveries. So there's targets 2 and 3, which are the Ivana Central and Ivana North. They're located just 10 kilometers and 20 kilometers respectively away from north of the Ivana deposit. And there's a drill program that's ongoing there right now. We've announced a 4,500-meter drill program, and results of that should be coming in the next few weeks. And then there's targets 4 and 5, which are the Cateo Cuatro and the Ivana East. These ones we're just awaiting for permitting now, but these also have potential for making additional deposits from the surface work that we've done there to date. And there's targets all along, going all the way up to the northern part of the project. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to focus around the targets around the Ivana deposit, as those can all be served as potential ore as satellite deposits to the Ivana plant that we would construct. So I think what we've gone through so far, we can see that the project has easy access, has excellent provincial infrastructure in place and excellent provincial support. There's the geological setting and the characteristics compare our Amarillo Grande project to those projects in Kazakhstan, which are some of the biggest producing districts in the world. That's something that shows an incredible potential. The project, the entire project itself is underpinned by value. in that we already have an established resource of just under 23 million pounds of uranium and 11.5 million pounds of vanadium. The PEA that we published establishes that potentially the project is viable and profitable. So, at this stage of any project, that's exactly what you would like to hear. And I think we've also shown that the potential can rank amongst the largest uranium districts in the world, with many targets that have been identified, and some of them we're just starting to drill them off, and the operating costs staying where they are, ranking amongst the lowest in the world. So considering this as an investment, you've got a best-in-class management team with the Grasso Group and a technical team with extensive experience in the uranium. We know how to manage a success. We know how to be operating in Argentina and to manage any risks that may be inherent there. There's a resource already with a PEA already complete, so eliminating a lot of the initial risk inherent in an exploration company. The upside here, Amarillo Grande, again, potential to be the first low-cost domestic uranium supplier in Argentina, and to be able to supply beyond that. And the growth is to rank, like I said time and time again, like some of the biggest producers in Kazakhstan, which is the largest producers in the world. And last but not least, I'll just touch on the shares outstanding for the company and share structure. We have just over 162 million shares out. Market cap in US dollars is around just over $30 million. And at this point, I thank everybody for listening to our presentation. Both Guillermo and I are open to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Nico. Once again, if you are interested in asking a question and are logged into the GoToWebinar app or web platform, you can submit your questions to us directly in the questions module. We will now take a moment to develop the queue. Thank you. And on that, Nico, what is your target and timeline to get into production?
Well, right now, we are in the middle of a drill program, and we're looking at expanding the resources that we currently have, with results pending within the next month, say. We would then, we've actually begun some metallurgical work. We're moving towards a pre-feasibility study, which will probably last around 10 to 12 months. Production would require that to be completed, I'd say maybe about 3 years or so. Guillermo, what do you?
Yes, we still need to, as you mentioned, want to increase that initial resource to strengthen the deposit and its economics, but directly go into more metallurgical studies, and finally, in 3 years at least, we could be in good shape for a potential operation.
And I think an interesting point to go from that is, because Argentina has a need for uranium, their contract for buying uranium is expiring over the next couple of years. And this creates a very unique opportunity for us to potentially have Argentina as our first customer.
And can you tell us some other catalysts that we should be looking forward to in the upcoming quarters?
Yes, I think in the next month, the big catalyst will be the drill results that we have coming up. We've been drilling on Ivana Central and Ivana North targets now since March. And I think that will be a catalyst that, as we identify additional resources, it'll definitely add value to Blue Sky. Following that, we do plan to continue our ongoing drilling results. So in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, exploration will be ongoing. But then, as the PFS, the preliminary feasibility study continues, that's going to continue to, as that gets completed, that's going to advance the project to a point where we're production is going to be within the viewing line. So we're going to have multiple drill results coming out over the next few quarters. And then after about a year, we're going to, as we're moving the project towards production, there'll be additional catalysts at that time.
And just adding to Nikolaos' answer, as Nikolaos mentioned before, we have many targets defined, the initial targets, because for certainly there are more. There are the best ranked today. We are waiting for permitting, and the idea is to continue the exploration as we get those permits, and we at the same time we focus in moving forward the Ivana deposit itself.
Thanks, Guillermo. And it looks like we have one more question here. The Ivana deposit is an in-house discovery. Can you give us a brief on the timeline up to the present?
Well,
yeah,
probably is mine. I mean,
yeah,
the district was discovered back in 2006. The Ivana southern sector at Amarillo Grande, remember, it's a 140 kilometers trend, so it's not easy to be prospecting. And this southern portion of the project was discovered back in 2011. Some exploration efforts were done in a joint venture with Arriva, 2012, 2013. We have a lapsus of care maintenance. After 2 years, we recuperate the exploration effort with strong energy coming or advancing from prospecting to intensive exploration. And since we started, we rapidly discovered Ivana deposit. So this Ivana was discovered in 2017. The first geophysical works were done at the end of 2016. So in half a year, we already have the discovery of the deposit, and we continue drilling in steps for another year or so to finally present the PA 2 years later. So we were really rapidly advancing the project itself.
And on that, thanks guys, and thanks everyone for joining today's webinar that will soon be made available on the Blue Sky website. If you have any additional questions that have not been addressed on this webinar, please feel free to email us at bluesky@rbmilestone.com. Again, that's bluesky@rbmilestone.com. Thank you. You are now free to disconnect.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.